I always feel that effective design isn't about a singularity. It can be, but I like syncopation. What I mean by that is multiple things happening simultaneously. So as a person, say for example, taking this showroom, the footfall, the circulation direction is such that I'm taking through certain areas, but within these areas, there's then certain color schemes, certain furniture arrangements, the integration of nature and the plants and the shrubbery. Then I come to outdoor, then there's the different feel in terms of the neutral brick floor we were just talking about. And then just off camera, you can't see, there's this lovely kind of naturally rustic wall that's just been left to the ages with sort of moss covering and feels very worn. So the point being that wherever my eye goes, even though I'm being guided, because as we mentioned, this is a showroom, there's a purpose here. So I'm being guided a certain way, yet along this journey I can stop, look at a lovely mirror. So again, off camera you can't see, but there's this beautiful sort of turquoise sort of carved mirror that's really standing out against this sort of old, worn, moss-covered wall. And so my eye goes straight to it and I can really see the form and the shape and the carving. So, you know, I'm a big believer in, I call it syncopated experiences on multiple scales. And I'm just constantly intrigued and looking and engaged. And for me, that can work. Obviously, there's a line, you never want to overwhelm someone. If it's done well, everything has a place and a role, and you engage with it as you walk through in your own time. Each person will react to something different. So that kind of multiplicity really sort of helps bring a space to life, and this is a really cool example of how that can work.
Well, as we all, like, you know, as designers, what we study is like very structured, and you know, there are certain elements and, you know, principles which you have to follow. But I believe it is the power of the five senses in human body, like, you know, see, smell, hear, touch, and taste. So that is totally based on that. And in my personal view is, I mean, it's within that I work on. It doesn't matter where you live or which part of the world, you know, it is how you sense this. That is what it matters.
Now, there's so many amazing things to choose from, but I just have one of your editions here that's actually got a feature piece on my father, Cecil Balmond. I wanted to just talk about this piece here called Hedge. So obviously when you look at it, it's, you know, aesthetically striking. You've never seen anything quite like it. But what I love about it is that actually the theory behind it is so simple, and actually sometimes there are very simple principles in design that can have a very complex or extraordinary outcome. And this piece Hedge is all about just taking a solid and removing parts of it to form a void, then going into that void, there's a new solid, take out a part. So it's actually just a very sort of basic organizational system that produces something amazing. So I just think it's a really strong example of how we can apply a simple principle or mechanism or an understanding and use that as a creative starting point. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely a really cool example.
Yeah, if you take a space, like, you know, and then when you walk into the space, you go to see the sights, and, you know, when you walk into a space, I look at it like how the sun positioned and how it moves right throughout, and then I'd identify the walls where I could play on, like, you know, and through that, plus even in the day, the moonlight, you know, if you just walk in the evenings, like, you know, when it's a little darker and when the moon comes up, how the rays comes through. Those things really you can highlight and you can give the best picture to the client. So I use, that is one of the first things that I do when I get a space. I walk into the space, look at it and how and why. And then even in an office space, like, you know, sometimes on towers, in certain parts you get like hot sun comes through. And then we know what to locate in those spaces, what not to locate in those spaces. So everything basically, you know, for me, I works with the sunlight and the moonlight. So that works, that's how it works.
for me, it's just a natural curiosity that I absorb the energy of things around me in a sense of understanding, or just curiosity. You don't need to understand it, but it's being aware. So say, for example, I could take this leaf. I could be walking around and I look at this leaf and just even seeing, I don't know if you can see it here, but the basic structure, like this could easily be a shelving system. Nature is one of the most efficient and economical designers, but I say that to say that for me there's just infinite possibility and energy, and I think every person experiences that in one way or another, whether you love being by the sea, whether you love garden views, whether you love your plants. And I'd just say to those people who are doing design in their homes, is just engage with the natural energy of things around you and interpret them in your own way. You know, you're free. Design's such a freeing process. Everyone has this mentality of, I'm not a designer, I'm not creative. And you know, we need to break free from that assumption. As humans, we all have an innate creative instinct. It's just about nurturing it, and I think the first thing to do is just stimulate yourself by what you like, what you're interested in. Always be looking. Don't be afraid to have a pad, just sketch some silly things. Half the things I draw look ridiculous, but there's a spark in there that could be something down the road. And I just think so many people have so much potential they're not tapping into. You know, not trying to put myself out of a job, but you know, everyone can do it. And I think start with just the world around you. There's nothing more energetic than that.